Definitely do it, girl.
Okay.
Hey guys, I am Ken Joslin, your host of the As the Leader Grows podcast. I have two of my favorite human beings on the face of the planet, Aaron and Sarit, my favorite front porch Saturday morning coffee drinking partners in the entire world. What's up, girls?
Hey, so grateful to be here.
How are you guys doing? You guys have been through a little bit of drama over the past few weeks with travel and stuff like that. But hey, take a minute real quick to tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you've got going on right now.
Yeah, so we are Aaron and Sarit, and we are on a mission to transform the lives of millions through the same movement, nutrition, lifestyle, and financial habits that have transformed ours.
I love that, girl. You guys, okay, so we've been friends for a long time now. You guys, again, we've just had some really cool kind of moments together at the house where you guys were at in Carlsbad before you moved to Miami, and just kind of talking. We've been on virtual summits together. You guys have been on podcasts. We've just been really close and connected. Tell people a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey. You're going to be speaking at our next boot camp in Vegas. You guys have absolutely, and not just the number side of the revenue of what you're doing there, but you built an unbelievable community. The community and relationships are huge. I'd love for you to talk to our audience today about that community and your focus and how you've built such an unbelievable community over the past 1.5 to 2 years.
Can I begin with a mantra?
You go ahead, girl. You can begin with whatever you want to.
So, Maya Angelou said this, and this is like one of our like big mantras that, we lead by, is that people will forget what you said. They'll, forget, what is it? They forget what you said. They forget.
They'll never forget how you made them feel.
They forget what you said. They forget what you do, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Exactly. And we lead every day with that. Whatever action, we do, we're like, okay, like, on the receiving end, like, how is this going to affect the other person? And I think people can feel authenticity and the opposite. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I really truly believe that it starts with being authentically who you are, all the way who you are. Because we were talking about this actually on our podcast yesterday, is just, if you aren't who you are when you meet somebody, you're hiding something, or you're not that every single piece of your life needs to be shared with everybody, but if you're pretending to be something or somebody you're not, or talk a way that you don't talk, or look a way that you don't normally look, if you're putting up some kind of front and somebody becomes your friend, like all the people in our community, they are our army. They are the ENS army, right? And they, like, if we weren't who we are as individuals, we would attract people who were attracted to the front that we were putting up, or the fakeness that we were being, right? And I think that people are afraid to be themselves, because all of us at some point have been rejected or made fun of or teased, or, have had some kind of negative experience by trying to be authentic. And so it kind of then scares us. Like, I don't want to be rejected again. I don't want to be made fun of. I don't want that feeling. And so what happens though, is when you are you all the way, the people who like that come your way. It also could come with some people being like, well, I don't like how you are. I don't know why people need to speak up to say, I don't like how you are. You can keep that to yourself. That's fine too. But, you get the people to come into your community who are like you, and you guys then can mesh. And then it's about, why did you come to our community? What inspired you to click on whatever you saw to come in here, and how can we deliver that to you?
I love that. You talked about authenticity earlier, and I've said this for years. One thing you cannot fake is authenticity. So you guys, really the key to your growth, and not just in your community, but just really even in your numbers, to what you guys financially, how you guys have moved the needle from, trying to crack 5 figures a month to cracking 6 figures a month, has been the key. You guys would say has been the authenticity and building that community and relating to the people that are inside your community.
Yeah, it's all, if you don't have people, you don't have problems to solve for them. If you don't have problems to solve for them, nobody gives you money for it.
That's exactly right. Yeah, money's exchanged. We've heard Grant say this a million times. Money's exchanged when problems are solved all the time. When you help people solve problems. Talk to me, guys, about the journey from where you guys were at. I think we've known each other a little bit over a year, but talk about the journey from where you guys were at, say, a year and a half ago to where you are right now in your business, and maybe some of the successes and then some of the growth challenges that you've seen, and how you guys overcame and went through those challenges to be able to grow.
We both start writing.
Okay, so successes, and
Yeah,
then
tell us kind of some.
let's talk about the growth moments.
Do you want to know impact? Do you want to know numbers? Do you want to know?
Yeah, I would love for you guys to give us some percentages of growth. Like in the last 18 months, how much has your business grown? Like you started here, today you're at here, and then maybe take us on a journey of over the past 18 months, how you scaled from where you were 18 months ago when we met to where you guys are at today, and some of the key takeaways and lessons you've learned.
Yeah, so I'll tell you this, over the last 18 months, we've scaled 1,200%.
That's a little bit.
So like 12 times as much. And, I would like to bring up the growth moments because this is what led to that, like when we go to events or conferences and, like we get asked to speak on a stage, and then, like the number one question that we always get asked is, what is the one thing that you did? And now here's the thing. There's no one thing.
Shut up.
One of the things that you say is that success is not monumental, it's incremental.
That's right. Incremental, not monumental.
And that goes to entrepreneurship, and it also goes for anything in life. Like, I mean, kudos to you on your weight loss success. Like, we're in the weight loss space. Like everybody wants to lose 50 pounds, but in order to get to 50, you have to start at 1, to get to 10, to get to 20, and so on and so forth. And, there is a couple of things that really attributed to that. One of the things that Sharon Lecter, who's one of our mentors as well, a dear friend of yours, she's such an incredible woman. She talks about, like the wheel of the business, right? And on the outside, one of the 3 things is mission. So the reason why we started what we started is because we have come from the fitness industry. We've had our struggles ourselves, and we noticed that there is a gap that needs to be filled. So the reason why we started our business, it's because it was mission based. And I truly believe from our experience that success will happen when your primary focus is on other people. When we started our business, like we have no background in business. I don't think anybody in your family or in my family for generations has ever been a business owner. But when you're committed, you figure out whatever it takes. And, we always led when it comes to making big decisions with the bigger picture, right? Like we take ourselves outside of it, and we do the right thing. But that's because this is how we treated our bodies and ourselves too. Like, gotta get a workout in early in the morning, feeling tired. Like, yeah, it'll be more comfortable to stay in bed, but the right thing to do is to get the workout in and, like to step outside of your comfort zone. And, one of the things that Grant Cardone says is when the student is ready, the teacher arrives. And I will attribute a lot of our success to mentors that we've had.
Yeah, that was my next question was to ask you guys. You talked about Sharon a little bit. Obviously, we're all close to Sharon. She sold more books, financial books, than any other woman in the history of the world, being the co-author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I literally have her Exit Rich book sitting right here on my desk. I'm sure you guys have got it over there as well. Talk about the importance, Aaron. Talk about the importance and the role of mentors in your life. We've talked about those growth moments. Talk about the importance of those mentors and maybe some of those moments where they've helped you guys circumvent some difficult situations or some seasons by giving you some wisdom about some things that they've done and experienced in the past.
Mentorship, whether you like it or not, everybody has mentors. Now, did you choose them?
Mm.
Or did you just allow them to be and you don't even realize they're your mentors? When you seek mentorship, you're usually looking for somebody who's done something that you want to do, or is somewhere where you want to be, or has something you want to have, and you don't know how to get there, but they've proven they've been able to do it or get it or whatnot. And so you're like, okay, I'm going to follow you. This is like the normal path. I think that mentorship is, I was trying to think of the word. I'm like, there's one word I'm trying to think of where it's just like, it's not undeniable. It's not like necessary. It's stronger than that. It's like, no matter what, you have to, or you don't. What's the
Right.
word I'm looking for? It's like, oh my gosh. I'll think of it and I'll just blurt it out later.
Go ahead. You're good.
But it's like, it's, if you want to continue, if you don't continue growing as a human being, you begin dying. Like that's the moment you begin dying. And in order to continue to grow, you need to look forward towards people who you are inspired by, right? People listen to your podcast, they're inspired by you. And so at that point, then that person, you just made them a mentor, right? And so in order to continue to grow and evolve, you have to have mentors. There's no way around it.
And there are different mentors for different seasons of your life and different seasons of your business. And I know you guys have experienced that. Talk about that and how you've connected. Because some people say, well, Ken, how do you know Grant? Or how do you get connected with somebody like Tim Story? Or how do you go to Sharon Lecter's house and sit at her dining room table, which is the largest dining room table on the face of the earth? It seats like 58 people and it's like 500 feet long. I tell her, how do you get to go in and sit with her for 2 hours and cast vision and dream and share your heart with someone of that magnitude? How did you guys do that?
It's called growing up. Right. So, okay. So we've had our business for a little over 3.5 years now. We knew zero things. We still feel like we don't know anything sometimes, but like we knew nothing. And we were like, but we know we need somebody to help us. We've always been very strong believers in coaches. That's coaching and coaches put together. You're now a coachee, Ken, in case you didn't know. And we've always believed in that. So we invested in that. We hired somebody. We're like, hey, same thing. It seems like you've been where we want to go. So maybe you can help mentor us and coach us to that. And then we quickly outgrew that. What they were capable of giving to us was no longer moving us forward. Okay. So then we're like, we need to find somebody else. And we did. And then we outgrew that, or it wasn't a match. We had to find somebody else. And I think we went through 4 or 5 different business coaches within a year.
Like 1 year. Within
1 year. And, when I had come across Grant, and then about 2 years passed by before we actually dove in. And we have other mentors besides Grant, people's books that we read that we really also just get so much value from. But, when we got connected with Grant and actually started diving into the boot camps, the program, I think we did the boot camp that was right after you, the first one you did. And we really started going all in. We've never been able to outgrow the content. We've never been able to outgrow the mentorship. And so it's that's a substantial mentor, because if you're continuing to grow, that you have a great mentor and you can't outgrow them because they're also continuing to grow. So they can keep learning more and becoming just more. I don't want to say any person is better than another person. We're all at very different stages in our lives, but.
Well, I think you said it just a minute ago when you talked about being authentic. You're going to be who you are. You're going to attract people. I talk about the 3 spheres of relationship or influence everybody needs: your community, your circle, and your corner. And your community is that large group of people that travel with you. It's your Ernest Reed Army. It's your tribe. It's your community that you guys have built. You connect with somebody like a Grant. You connect with somebody like a Sharon Lecter. So there is a there's a mutual agreement, if you will, or a desire, the same DNA as the words that I usually use in going after a common vision and a common goal.
Mhm. Yeah. And one thing that I want to say about all the other like coaches or mentors that we had is each one of them, though it didn't end up working out for a long time, each one of them had a purpose in wherever we were at in our journey. Each one of them played a role in us growing and developing somehow. But you know what? I really think that has to do with the mentee. I really think that has to do. So for anybody who's listening, any people in your community, they are looking to you because they're inspired by you. They want to learn from you. They want to grow from you. They need to show up equally in order to get what they need and apply so that they can actually make that growth.
Yeah, I love that. Teachability is one of our 5 core values throughout all my companies. But teachability is we're not only open to feedback, but we actively pursue feedback. You guys have been talking about mentors, different people that you have personal relationship with, like a Grant, like a Sharon Lecter. Talk about some of the opportunities you have, and you mentioned this. Talk about some of the opportunities you had to be mentored by people that you're just listening to their podcast or reading their book and the impact that's had for you guys.
I mean, it's invaluable, really. And
Sharon, Grant, Brandon.
Yeah, I forgot Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon. Yeah, the whole Cardone Ventures team has been amazing too. And
one of the things that I write in my goals each and every single day is meaningful relationships with world-class leaders and influencers. We become who we surround yourself by. And, so many people are concerned about income. And I will tell you that we are too. Like, revenue drives business, like it's the bloodline. But I know on a spiritual level that if I surround myself with, people from a different caliber, who've just done incredible things, who've made an incredible impact, I will subconsciously want to become that too. And I will start to model, mimic, and master that. And by default, I will be able to reach my full potential because of that. I think that the value of quality relationships is not often talked about or even taught about, but it really drives the biggest impact on your destiny. And we know where we're going. We know that we don't have all of the answers, but we know, and something that we've done really well, I don't know what made us figure that out. Maybe it's because we were both athletes and we knew the value of coaching from sports.
It's good.
Is do whatever it takes to surround yourself with the right people. I think too many people want to have all the answers. And now here's the thing. Like, in order to be making an extreme amount of impact and for you to be successful, everybody defines success in a completely different way. So, for those of you guys listening, whatever success means to you, you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be great at maybe one or a few different things. Because if you become, and I'm so stoked to read your book, by the way, about leadership, right? Like, one of the, growth moments that we've had and continuously develop ourselves with is leadership. When you have great leaders on your team, and when you develop great leaders on your team, and when you become a great leader, and by the way, it all starts and ends with you, whatever you attract above you or below you, is what will help you to create whatever it is that you want to create. And
I love that.
And I think so many people want to have all of the little answers instead of just honing in deep and investing their time, their money, and their efforts with regards to diving deep, and create relationships with other people who can help them.
You asked how How have we come across these opportunities? Or people have asked you, Ken, how did you get these opportunities for these people? The deal is, each person that we were mentored by, each person, we paid a certain amount of money. Now, the thing with money and impact is that the bigger the impact the person is making, the more money it takes to get in front of that person.
Yes.
You got to work your way up to be able to trade the dollar, and you have to have courage to give that money. And you have to also have commitment within yourself to know that you're going to do something with what you get out of being around.
You just brought up something that's really good. That's a scary proposition sometimes. When I'll never forget, I had a buddy of mine called when Grant did his mastermind in June of 2020 at 10X headquarters. It was 10 grand. Yep. You know, I was already a licensee. I was already doing real well, but when he called me, this is what he said. He said, Ken, Grant's doing a mastermind for $10,000. And his next sentence was the game changer for me. He goes, think of how many years we can circumvent off the growth of our business by sitting in the room with Grant for 2 days. The game changer. I went to Coach Birch right after that he invited me up, and he had a room full of probably 50, 60 people. It was a $500 a weekend, kind of $500 for like 2 days or whatever it was. And he looked at me and he goes, in my best Coach Birch accent, he goes, Ken, how much money did you pay Cardone to go down there and sit with him for 2 days? I said, $10,000. The look on the faces of the people in that room, it absolutely blew their mind that I would spend 10 grand to go down there and spend 2 days with Grant. But out of those 2 days, not only came tons of relationships with people who are in my community, but we started our online courses because of what I walked away with in those 2 days. Tell me about, like, one of the moments for you guys, and either one of you can answer, one of the moments where you stroked a check and you were like, oh my goodness. I hope.
There's been a few. There's been a few.
I mean, just tell me, each of you guys give me an example and you were like, woo, like, you're like, I don't even know. And part of the thing I love what you said, Aaron, was you wonder if you can even pull off what they're going to teach you. Can I do what they're going to ask me to do? So anyway, the floor is yours.
The first check that we wrote for coaching or for Grant specifically?
Either one. I don't care.
Well, the first coach we had asked us for $1,000 a month, and he never had experience coaching. That's how desperate we were. And I will tell you this, I was thinking about, okay, what led us to this different way of thinking that changed everything for us? And it was honestly the struggle. This is what led us to be open-minded to Grant. And I remember in the car, we drove down, we lived in Carlsbad. That was in an apartment that, like, before we knew you. And, it was January 5th. And
there was 2 apartments before.
You saw our beat up car.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, I saw it. Oh, yeah, I remember.
You saw our beat up car. So, like, you've seen the journey. So we drove down to San Diego. For those of you guys who haven't seen that car, we had tape on the mirrors.
Both mirrors.
So
a dent in the back.
Yeah. So, we took our little car, drove it to San Diego. We had that free event. And, before we walked into the room, we're like, okay,
Grant's tour.
We know that Grant's a shark. We had coaches. We got to a point where we outgrew them. But we were like, we know that Grant's is a shark. We already paid for coaching this month. No matter what, we're not going to pay. And then we started to hear him speak. And
I shared this story from the GrowthCon stage this year.
Yeah.
And we were like, I'm like, he's speaking to my soul. I'm like,
we bought it.
I'm like, it's going to be more expensive for us to not make that commitment.
Yes,
So,
yes.
we started with, like, for both of us at times too, like a $995 investment.
Yeah, it was like a couple thousand.
In the 8-week mentorship. And, like 8 weeks later, we invested like 25 grand that we had to split into however many payments.
Didn't even know how we were going to get that.
Yeah, on however many credit cards to be a licensee, because we're like, we just need to be immersed.
So just to give people a point of reference, How much
Yeah.
money were you generating in your fitness business then? Aaron's laughing. Aaron's laughing.
we
Did it
were,
even have a comma in it at that point? Was there one comma in it then?
I think there was one.
there was a, yeah, oh yeah, there was
one
a
comma.
yeah, one comma, and it would range anywhere because things were so unpredictable. Anywhere between like 8,000 that January, like, you know, we made 21K. We're like, yeah.
We're like, oh, I mean, we used to be like, you know, when we make 20K a month, like we're killing it. But, you know, when revenue increases, so do expenses. So people don't understand. You can be like, oh yeah, we made $100,000 in a month. Yeah, but how much did you keep? You know, like, so just for reference, like that $2,000 was like, okay, we got to figure out how to make this work. The 25 for licensee, we put like a certain amount down, like 8,000 down. And then we had some other $8,000, $7,000 payments. We're like, we don't even know how we're going to get this because we're barely even maybe making this like per month. And then I would say like as of recent, so it's all relative, right? So there's a journey in this. Somebody who's got $12 million in their bank account sees different things as expensive than somebody with, you know, $1,200. So, you know, I would say as of recent, like we always have to pay double for every event we go to, right? Because we're going to go together. So, you know, it's like we went to a mastermind. Okay. So 10 times 2 is 20, right? Sometimes it's like, okay, well, what are we going to get out of this? The accelerator was an easy decision. We got 2 of them. I think it was like 16 grand for both. So it was like $32,000. We're like, shit. You know? But we also knew we're going to be going to 3 workshops, you know, a 10X HQ day. We're going to be getting all this stuff. Like that was kind of an easier decision. It's the mastermind. You're like, okay, I'm going to pay to sit in a room with somebody and we're paying $20,000 to sit in a room to hear somebody just talk and like we're not getting any material or we're not getting. And the thing is that it's the evolution. It's like when we paid this amount of money for this coach, $1,000, you know, 3.5 years ago. Okay, we got something from that. Then we go to the next step. We learned something from that. We go to the next step. We learned something from that. You know, and we're slowly increasing. And then, you know, we started to understand like marketing. Okay, well, how do we get our message in front of more people? And that's when things really started to take off. And then we ran into new problems. So I would say now, like the scary ones are like, you know, we did Project X. Do you know Project X?
Oh, is that with Grant?
That's with Alan Lazar and Ricky.
Yeah.
So that was like a 25 grand down and 5 months of payments for 10 grand a month, you know? And then they're at the same time as we're working with Cardone Ventures platforming, which was $150,000 paid over like 6 months. So it's like, it's scary, but at the same time, the more this is the most important thing. Who cares about the dollars? Like, I don't know how wide people's eyes are right now, but like, it doesn't matter about the dollars. What matters is how much you trust yourself to commit to get something out of that to grow. You got to, the bow doesn't shoot the arrow unless you pull the bow back.
I love that. And I think that was the main thing you said just a minute ago that I think our audience, people that are listening right now are like, man, because you went from spending $1,000 a month and now you're at 20 to 25 grand a month investing in yourselves. You have to have a high level of confidence that you're going to be able to pull off and not just recoup an ROI of 1 for 1, but how do I take this 25 grand a month I'm investing in the 2 of us and turn that 25 into 6 figures a month? How do I do that? I would love for you. Go ahead. If you got something to say, I want to ask you a question real quick.
I want to give people hope though, because I would look at the Aaron from 5 years ago and be like, well, shit, like, you know, like I can't do that, you know, and that's where it starts. Like if you're telling yourself that, that's where it starts. That has to be the first thing to change. You can do, because I never would have thought that I'd have been able to do that. But you have to be it until you believe it. And you have to act the way that the person, however many years from now, would act. And the confidence builds. It was scary to spend $1,000 a month. That was scary. When you are committed, you know, you're going to be able to do something. Even if the first thing doesn't work, you know, you're not going to quit. I was listening to Cardone yesterday. Grant said, I will never as long as I refuse to quit, I will always get what I want. As long as I refuse to quit, and his like rule number one of the rules of success is show up. You have to just keep showing up. You have to refuse to quit. And that $1,000, how you see is scary, turns into 2,000, but your confidence builds in being able to invest that 2,000. You're like, I know what I did with the 1,000. Okay. 2,000. Okay. Now it's 8, 10. Okay. What I did with all these ones, and I've been able to get to here. I'm fortunate enough to be able to invest the $10,000. Now my confidence is built. Now we invest $100,000. We're like, there's no, if we know what we're going to do with it, and we have the to make it work, which we've built up, it's not a difficult decision. You have to build up from there. We'll just start there.
I love that. It's growth. It's just stages of growth, stages of what's palatable for you when you're investing in yourself. And that's what you guys have seen. I remember the first month, I don't know, has it been a year ago? You guys hit 6 figures in your business online. It's been probably maybe a year, maybe a little bit over a year. Yeah. And you guys, the first time you guys hit 6 figures, and then as you guys have just in watching your ascension and watching your growth in what you've done, I want to shift gears a little bit. So we've talked about authenticity. We've talked about building confidence, which is one of the 3 things that we do at Growth Stack Drive, is really help people build confidence, because confidence is currency. I say this all the time. You spend it every single day in the decisions you make and in the relationships you build. It takes a level of confidence to be able to do that. And you said it just a minute ago, Aaron, so eloquently. You've got to be confident in yourself when you're putting out and investing money in you and in your business to be able to do that. We've got our Vegas boot camp is right around. Go ahead.
I'm going to give him some. Okay, so you have an event coming up, right? You got a boot camp coming up. Okay, so if you guys want to know more, like if you guys are, oh, these girls are confident. Okay, cool. Your event coming up is about like creating. The theme is creating. And so if you want to learn more about confidence and how to create it,
come on, girl. Yeah, come to Vegas. We've got we're gonna focus on 3 main areas, and that's number 1, creating the vision, number 2, creating the culture, and number 3, creating the teams and the revenue to be able to do that. Obviously, Aaron and Sarita are going to be coming. They're doing a session. They'll be doing a Q&A with us as well. What would you say to somebody who's listening today, who's like, our Vegas boot camp tickets are $5,000. They're $4,997. Now there's going to be only 50 to 60 people in the room. Most of the people that are coming in speakers. It's funny because our boot camps we do, there is no green room. Like when we had our last one in Scottsdale, Sharon spoke. I'll open it up. Sharon spoke after me on Friday morning. We had our after party pool Hawaiian luau Saturday night. Sharon comes back in her Sunday best to the pool party. She sure did. Like, it's so funny because our events are so different because there's not a green room where people are ushered on and off the stage. Like our speakers come in and usually hang out for a day or 2.
Okay, I gotta ask you a question, like logistically.
Yep.
So your event is Friday, Saturday.
That's
Do you
correct.
have something afterwards? Because we're flying back to the East Coast. Like
we have the speakers. We have the VIP speakers dinner Thursday night. We have all day Friday, Saturday till 5, and then our after party is at 6:30. We've got live music. We've got catered dinner. It's going to be really, really, really cool that we're doing Saturday night. When are y'all heading back? Do you know yet?
Well, we didn't get our tickets yet.
Well,
Sunday morning. Sunday morning.
Back Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday morning. Yeah, you're not going to be functioning to fly out Saturday night unless you do the red eye like at midnight. You might be able to do that, but yeah, Sunday will be the best time for you guys to fly out because we'll have an after party. It's going to be, we get not DJ, but live music coming in, full bar dinner. I mean, it's really, really, really nice. For somebody that's
come.
Yes, for somebody that's on the fence going $5,000 is a lot of money. What would you guys say to them?
Each person, depending on why they're saying $5,000 is a lot of money. First, like Grant would tell you, and I say Grant would tell you because I want to give him credit where credit's due, but I agree with this and I believe this. You don't have a $5,000 problem. You have a $50,000 problem. And if you're not willing to give up $5,000, you have to ask yourself, why are you not committed enough? Because any value you're going to take away from it, like what you can do with the information that I know who's going to be there. I know who's going to be there. They can go to your website. They can go to the page. They can see who's going to be there, the event page. And the amount of like research all these people, look these people up.
It's insane.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I don't even know why we're sharing the stage. I feel honored to be like on the stage, you know, and it's like, if you're unwilling to give up something, you will not get the next thing.
So good. So good. It is almost like the transformation and the growth you guys talked about. $1,000 a month was like, whoa. And now we're at 20 to 25 grand a month. You guys are investing in your business and in yourselves, in your development, not only in your personal development, but in your leadership growth, your business's growth, looking at it, your marketing growth, like literally you're expanding and growing your business. One of the things Brandon Dawson said one time, he went in, he was talking about, you know, sometimes there's risk. And he was talking about, was looking at a company. I think he spent almost $500,000 getting a company research that he wound up not buying. And I was like, oh my, it's hard for me to wrap my head around that. Like, I think it was 480 grand or something like that. I'm like, 480 grand. And what he said was, I didn't lose 480 grand. I invested 480 grand. So it didn't cost me millions of dollars down the road. And that's the huge part I think that people need to understand. I want to talk a couple minutes. We got about 5 minutes. I know you guys were just in Israel. I know you guys had some personal stuff that happened. We talked about business, the success, the growth, the growth ceilings. Talk about some personal challenges. Obviously, that whole thing was a personal challenge. I told you made me tear up and cry when I saw your Instagram post about them shipping you back. Talk about some personal challenges. How was that a challenge? How did you guys walk through that together? And how did you face those moments?
That was tough. I might get teary-eyed at some point just because I got to relive it when I talk about it. But it's, you know, at the end of the day, there's positive comparison where you can say somewhere somebody has it worse than I do. And even if you're just using that as like I got to make myself feel better kind of thing, it works. So do it. Somebody somewhere has it worse than you do. Like, you know, I want to, okay. So just a tiny bit of backstory. What happened was, Sarit and I traveled to Israel. There's a lot of complications with COVID and, you know, just what different countries are allowing, for entry and different documentation that you have to have and things like that. And all the sites that we looked at, all the sources of information, you know, didn't all exactly say the same thing. So we're trying to piece together, you know, what all we need. We're just trying to get somebody on the phone so we have an accurate information. And so we think we have everything. We think we're good. We're like, if anything, like the deal was, am I going to be able to get into the country? Because she's a citizen, no problem. Okay. So we go, we have our documentation. We're like, the worst thing that will happen is we get to the airport and we go to check in and they tell me I don't have the right documentation. And they don't let me on the plane and we figure it out from there. Right. So we go, we got our boarding passes. We're like, okay, well, we must be good then. They asked for some piece of documentation. Nobody, by the way, ever asked for a negative COVID test. Just saying.
Right.
So we get our boarding passes. We go to the gate. We get on the plane. We fly Miami to JFK. Okay, cool. We're still a little bit uncertain. Like there's still a little bit uneasy because we're like, do we have all of the stuff we need? We should be good. We're like thinking it through. We're like, why would they let me on the plane though? That wouldn't make any sense. Then we go to our gate at JFK to go to Tel Aviv. And at JFK, they had more security. Usually Israel has like quite a bit of security. They take our temperature. Nobody asked for like vaccinations or anything, which is supposed to be like required, whatever. I'm like, okay, well, look, it seems like they're not being as strict as I would have thought they would be. They put us through another security thing. Everything goes good. We get on the plane. We fly to Israel, 12 hours, right? And then we get there, we go to the border patrol or like a customs and we're talking with them. Ultimately, they didn't let me in. There was one piece of documentation they had to have. I didn't have it. I couldn't get it. It required an appointment and it would have taken months to get the appointment. And so they didn't let me in. Our luggage was on the other side. They told me I had to go back to the plane that literally had just dropped us off and it's leaving in 30 minutes. I have to go. Our luggage is on the other side of the wall. I can't get across. Sarit has to go. And so we literally got split up. I got escorted back through a private security. They took my whole bag apart, put everything like I'm a criminal, escorted me all the way through the airport to the plane, and then I flew all the way back to
Took
JFK.
your passport and didn't give it to you until you landed in the US.
They escorted my passport and wouldn't give it to me till I landed in the US. And so then, 45 hours from when I left Miami, I was back in Miami. And so it was just like, and chaos, and it was hard because now my wife's in a different country. She has all my clothes.
Right.
She has.
Well, you guys are usually gym clothes, so that probably would be halfway easier for you guys. Let me ask you this question, guys. With everything that you've learned in your entrepreneurial journey, how did that help you in that moment when that happened last month for you guys?
That is the question I had to ask. Why is this happening for me? Sometimes it's really takes a while to figure out, but you have to keep your eyes open. And the only reason I can think of right now is that was a very personal trip. And I told myself Sarit wasn't going to go to Israel unless I went to Israel. So it was meant for me to escort her to Israel because there was somebody she needed to see that she might not see again. And she wasn't going to go if I didn't go. So I had to get her there and then I came back. And I don't know if that's the truth, but that's my story and I'm sticking to it. It makes me feel better. It gives me a purpose for doing that trip rather than thinking it was a waste of time. Yeah. And some of the things you learn is, for one, I have extreme gratitude that both Sarit and I are alive and well because we could have been separated in a more indefinite way. I have gratitude that Sarit's a US citizen and she could get back into the United States. And my theme for that few days that was really difficult for me was life is hard, but we can do hard things.
I've got a good friend who wrote a book, You Can Do Hard Things. Cynthia did. Tell everybody, you guys have got a challenge going on right now. Sarit's guns are almost as big as mine. No, kid, every time I see her, if I go to her house, I'm like, can you please put a long sleeve shirt on? Because I do not want to look at either one of your arms because you make me feel bad. Talk about your challenge. How can people find you? How can people connect with what you guys have got going on?
Pretty much every social media platform where Aaron and Sarit, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Twitter, YouTube has
TikTok. I see you guys. I just got on TikTok last week. I'm TikToking it up, y'all.
Good.
Y'all don't know.
On there.
Yeah.
We have if you like messages that we have, there's a lot of stuff on our YouTube channel, like hundreds of videos. And yeah, we do have a challenge coming up, which is, it's called the Transformation Kickstart Challenge. It's 14 days. It's free. And you can go to improveyousolutions.com. Actually, you can click the link in our Instagram bio or
I see it right here. AaronandSarit.com/links.
There you go. AaronandSarit.com.
That's it. AaronandSarit.com/links. It's a 14-day challenge, right? And what do they get in that 14 days from you guys?
So in that 14 days, as far as like what you get is recipes, workouts, a journal, so that you like an accountability journal. And then we're going to go live each day explaining the purpose behind every single day has a different challenge. And it's all designed to, like, people want to lose weight, get in better shape, have more energy. And so that's where they come in. But rather than only focusing on fitness and nutrition, like most people in this industry will do, there's so many other pieces in your life that contribute to whether or not you have success in those fitness or health goals. And so our job is to say, what are all these other pieces and how can we improve those and align them so that you have less resistance in getting to your weight loss or your fitness goals? So that's what that challenge is.
I love that, guys. Love you guys. You guys are two of my favorite humans. You know that. Guys, AaronandSarit.com/links. Sign up. Man, it's really cool to see people do well in business. But it's really awesome when they're just amazing people and they are super ridiculously passionate about helping people get their confidence back through weight loss and body transformation. And if you want guns like these chicks right here, you need to sign up for their 14-day transformation at aaronandsarit.com. I love you guys. I'll see y'all in 3 weeks. We'll be in Vegas together.
We're so looking forward to it.
It's always a pleasure to chat with you, hang out with you, be in your presence. So thank you for providing this for the people that are there, and we're happy to send them your way as well. And
awesome, girl.
Thanks for having us.
Well, I love you guys. Hey, thanks for joining our As the Leader Grows podcast. I am your host, Ken Joslin, and these are two amazing, amazing people, Aaron and Sarit. I love you guys. You guys have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow with my friend Craig Siegel, noon Eastern time. We will see you then.